A safety tip a week keeps your account security at peak. In the previous videos, we taught you how to identify scammers to protect your account. In this video, we'll be going through some of the consequences that might happen if your account gets stolen, and what you can do to prevent it. When scammers steal a game account, they usually start by deceiving a player to obtain their password, and then change it to prevent them from logging into the game. Next, they'll try to unlink and tamper with the mobile number and other information associated with the account. As a result, not only will all the items in UC in the account be lost, but the scammer will also spend all the UC to get items and use the gifting feature to sell them to others. Or they'll continue to post phishing messages with the stolen account to deceive other players. They might even impersonate the player and ask friends on the account for their passwords. Then rinse and repeat if they get hold of another account. In some cases, they might try to sell the stolen account directly. Worse still is when they use the account to cheat or commit other violations, which could lead to the account getting permanently banned. In order to prevent this from happening, we need to keep our eyes peeled for scammers. In the next video, we'll be going through in more detail how you can protect your account. What other account risks have you come across? Let us know in the comments.
PUBG Mobile version 2.7 will be available soon. Let's check out the new updates in Classic Mode. In this update, we've added a new Ace-32 firearm. It uses 7.62mm ammo and will be available on all maps, as well as in Metro Royale. Like the M416, the Ace-32 also has 6 attachment slots. Do you think Ace-32 will be more popular than M416? Try it out now. In the new version, 2-seat bikes can now fold up and be stored in the backpack. Just like mountain bikes, they can also jump, but only when ridden by one player. Teammates or enemies that are knocked down can now also be carried onto vehicles. Knockdown players can only be placed on passenger seats, and they can get off if they wish. How do you plan to use this new feature? Let us know in the comments. Players can now bring their companions into the training grounds and interact with them. Be sure to bring your companion along for training. Additionally, we've also improved the companion spectating system. When a teammate is spectating, their nickname, teammate number, and other information will be displayed. In this new update, we've continued to make improvements to the throwables slot. Now, when there are multiple items in the throwables slot, such as melee weapons, classic throwables, and exclusive themed items, they're sorted in a logical order to select more easily. We've also added firearm attribute tags. Newer players can go to their backpack to look at the tags of a firearm they picked up to quickly grasp its characteristics. On top of that, we've also added a background effect, the latest RP's Victory Dance. Go perform the Victory Dance with your friends. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. See you next time. A new 1.6 by 1.6 kilometer map is coming to PUBG Mobile version 2.7. In this map, there are several energy zones where you can receive random attribute boosts, such as increased speed and health recovery. At the same time, lots of supplies spawn in the area. Be sure to grab them while you can. After finding all the supplies in an area, you should keep moving to find more supplies. The fastest way to move about is through portals. Go through one to teleport to the other side somewhere else on the map. After exploring an area, it's best to teleport somewhere far. However, it's important to note that there's a cooldown after use, so it can't be used too frequently. If you want to travel across mid-distances, be sure to take note of the updrafts on the map. Get close to an updraft to get lifted into the air. After reaching a certain height, you'll descend back to the ground. During your descent, you can freely adjust your direction to head to your destination. This transportation method is very handy for escaping dangerous situations. Another thing you have to watch out for are the volcanoes on the map. The lava erupting from these volcanoes can cause damage within a certain range. Be sure not to step on the lava. Otherwise, you'll keep taking damage and lose health. After arriving at a new area, be sure to search for exclusive crates. Approach them to get exclusive themed supplies. Apart from exclusive crates, timed airdrops are also a great way to get supplies, so make sure to keep an eye out for the countdown timer on the minimap. It indicates when an airdrop is about to appear. After the countdown ends, a crate with amazing supplies will rise from the ground. When this happens, there will surely be many enemies vying for the crate, so make sure to lie in wait beforehand and evacuate quickly after grabbing the supplies. If you get injured when going for the supplies, go to the recovery point indicated on the map. You'll be able to heal there. Just run into it to fully restore your health and armor in an instant, just like with teleporting. The recovery point has a cooldown after using it. It can't be used again until the cooldown ends. If the battle gets too intense and you find your teammates eliminated, you can bring them back within a limited time at the towers located on the map. The towers also have cooldown after being used. Each player can only be brought back by a teammate once. Players that have been brought back will directly respawn near the tower that was used without having to jump back to the battleground. Hurry and join your friends in the fight for victory.
Oh my god!
Walking right into the DBS. The 1v2 right now, Hot Juice.
Al, it's your time.
Go!
Can you do this? He gets another. One more. The DBS under. Where are your shots?
Welcome everybody to the PUBG Mobile Summer Brawl North America. It is week 4 and I am joined of course by Actfire coming on in here today. How are you, Actfire?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm super excited to be here. I think today is going to be really interesting. I'm curious to see how the teams are going to perform.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I took a week off last week, so you know I've not been in the thick of things for a little bit, but I am ready to be going back into the action here with 8 teams coming on in here. We will be, of course, going on to 3 games of Nusa. But how was your experience last week, Actfire, and what do you think is going to be coming in to today? Of course, we do have new teams, but you know, what was kind of your thoughts coming into today?
I think it was a very aggressive lobby last week. I mean, we saw teams just pushing themselves over and over again. And I'm hoping that we see a repeat of the same, especially since it's a Nusa map. I think that we're going to have a lot of elite action. It's going to be, teams are going to be forced to take the fight. So I do feel like it's going to be really aggressive. 32 teams in that small map. It's going to be a lot. So let's see how it goes. It's 2 players,
totally.
actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited to see that because, again, yeah, I was going to mention Nusa as well, you know, being a much, much smaller map. You can't end up doing a whole lot of maneuvering, a whole lot of rotation. It's very, very much more centered towards that whole, I'm losing words here. Fighting. Yes, there we go. CQC, that's what I meant. That's the words I was trying to get out there. CQC, you know, a lot more fights, a lot more aggression coming through from a lot of these teams. So I think it's a really nice introduction to real aggressive play and not stopping, getting that hesitation out of your system and getting ready to go in. So yeah, I'm excited to see how these teams end up doing. But of course, I think we should be going into our calendar coming up here in just a moment. We'll see that new slide coming up there for you guys, the viewers at home. And here we go. Yes, it is indeed the 18th of August. We are doing the squads for Friday. Now, we did have squads, solos, duos, and now we're back to squads. So this should be a real interesting fight for these last titles that these teams can bring into the table. I'm very excited to see how this goes. We will be seeing 8 teams moving in here. And for Nusa, I mean, that is a lot of teams. I mean, I remember the first event that we ended up doing was squads as well, and it was a whole lot of action, primarily Actfire, going into a science center. So it was a big movement over to that side, a big hot drop coming in there for all 3 games. So very excited to see that. As our particular teams are on screen: Infinity, Ventru, Execute, Ego Evictus, Extreme Slayers, Row Academy, 412 Nomads, and Error Esports. And I gotta tell you, Actfire, we do see some familiar faces in here, namely Execute and Extreme Slayers. I think Execute were here in the first squad event, so I'm excited to see what they've got for this evening.
Yeah, super excited too as well. As we then turn our sights onto that prize pool, you can see that distribution all the way from first to up to the 6th place, and there's even a whole lot of money right there, especially for UC. I wish I had a little bit of that myself, but it's one of those things I have to live with for being such a terrible PUBG Mobile player.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. It's here. So people in chat, if you guys want to follow PUBG Mobile North America for all the latest updates including the results for this event and any future events that you could get your hands on, then go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or even Discord. Join the Discord server. There's always lots going on there. So if you are so inclined, here are all our tags. You can go ahead and grab them while we wait for this first game to get started. Alrighty, looks like we'll be going into the games fairly shortly here. And I do just want to kind of mention here, we are about to get into our first game. You know, I know, Fire, you've not seen all that much of these teams, but dare I ask you for a prediction coming into the first game?
Hey, it's a very tough one, but I'm just gonna go with Extreme Slayers. I think that they are probably the ones who are gonna step it up. I've been watching a couple of games, and I think I'm gonna put my money on them. Although we're not betting, but that's just what we say, anyways. So I'm probably just gonna go with them and see if they do not disappoint me in the first game of tonight, and we'll see.
Excellent. It's a good prediction, I have to say. Extreme Slayers have been known to be pretty extreme at times, so I'm excited to see how that prediction comes out for you. For me, I mean, I think the fan favorite's probably going to be Execute. They did very well in the squad week previously, but you know what? I'm all for maybe another team coming in there, and I want to see how Ego and Victus do. I think they could be a team to watch for the first game coming in here, which shouldn't be too long. But tell us, viewers at home, what your predictions are. Who are you looking forward to seeing tonight? Do let us know in chat. We are going to be watching that chat as we go forward with tonight's event. So do let us know. Shout out your teams in the chat. Spam it a little bit if you like. Not too much, but a little bit is fine. So go ahead and do that, and we will be watching.
All right, definitely. You do remember to hit that like and hit that subscribe to as well.
That too.
Make sure that you are following us through, as we will be looking to see, you know, what teams are going to be performing. So, of course, like you know very well, I'm not used to a lot of these teams, and I'm also super excited to get to know a lot of them, because I've been told that they are super amazing. While I do cast other regions, what are the things? I mean, you also cast other regions too as well. What are the things you feel is a bit different with the play style that we see in the NA lobby as compared to other regions like EU, like even the MENA regions?
I think it's difficult to say. There's a lot of similarities, and yet there's very nuanced differences, I think. I think a big thing is a lot of teams each have their very individual play styles. When you come to certain regions, speaking from, you know, my region, EU, there's generally a pattern that most teams follow, and then have a few outlying strategies that are built on that foundation, but pretty much it's kind of all the same foundation. I think with NA that's not the case, and everybody has their own unique strategy. How that melds is often an event by event basis, so I think that's what really shakes up this region and makes it perhaps a little bit more difficult to kind of come to grips with, because it is just so different every single time. So that's something that's exciting about it.
Exciting. I mean, I haven't really seen a lot, but I've been watching a couple of games and just been watching clips from the PMPL, going back and just taking a look at how the teams perform. I feel like comparing this region to the region I'm more used to, which is the African region, they're a bit more aggressive. You know, the African region usually tactically waits. You know, makes a lot of tactical rotations. I'm using my words quite carefully with the tactical waiting. And then tends to, you know, make those late rotations. We've seen it, especially in the EU versus, you know, the African region recently has been played, and it's been quite interesting seeing the, you know, dynamics of things. And yeah, it's been fun. But you know, I think the NA region is a bit more direct, you know, in their push. You know, they see a fight, they're making that push. They're not one person, they're going in for the juggler, and it just feels like it just feels a bit more exciting, especially from the caster's point of view. Maybe not much fun for the teams, you know, who are getting knocked down, but from a caster's point of view, it's a marvelous delight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point that you bring up, actually, about that kind of no hesitation, get the knock immediately push. It's something I admire a lot in these teams. They really just go for it, and it's something that is very, very useful in actually winning those fights, because you end up bringing a little bit of an element of chaos to the players you're kind of knocking and going up against, your enemy, so to speak. So I think it is a really good strategy to have, and I wish more regions ended up using it, more teams ended up using it, because it is really a great way to be. If you're on your toes all the time, you're going to catch somebody else off your guard. So I really like that about the NA region specifically. Our map, of course, will be Nusa, though, and I love Nusa so much, Ackfire, honestly. It's one of my very favorite maps, certainly my favorite small map, just because of how dynamic it is, how small it is, how interesting it is. And last time I did this, I mean, you were here the other week as well. Nusa is just such a great map to have this kind of esports competition on. I just love it. So I'm really excited to see where we're going to be going in this next map. It will be coming fairly shortly, though.
You know, a little confession. This is my first time casting Nusa, so I'm really excited to see how it's gonna go. Like one, it's my least, like, I'm totally different from you. It's my least played map.
Oh no!
And this is the first time I'm casting it. Like, I play a lot of Sandhawk, a lot of Erangel, a lot of Miramar. You know, very traditional when it comes to choosing what maps I play. Like, I'm not part of like the new things, Leafik and the rest. Although I'm trying to be on Leafik games, but again, I'm not that great a player. Okay, I'm a bot. But
same.
It'll be nice to see what Nusa is like. Maybe after watching the teams play, I might feel, you know, enlightened a little bit and decide to try it out a bit more. I might find it, you know, interesting. But we'll see. We'll see.
Honestly, it became my favorite when I could do solo squads or solo duos. That was really fun, but we're not doing solos, we're not doing duos. Ackfire, it is time to yeet into Nusa with some squads. I am so ready for this. We are going to be seeing these teams most likely go to Science Center. That's how it was last time, and I think that's going to be holding up, except your prediction. We got Extreme Slayers moving away from that area, going down to the south side instead. A nice slow start to their game, and that could do them very well in the future.
Well, we'll see how it works out, because it does seem like a lot of teams are going towards that region, and the fights are already beginning to ensue. We see the boys on Execute getting a knock right there, and it already begins to get really, really tricky. Speaking of tricky, Tricky himself gearing up to see if he can get a knock coming through. So all these teams are going super, super wild right here.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, Execute. You just can't beat them when it comes to Science Center, doing some great work. And of course, another beauty of Nusa is they're going to be coming right back, so there's no reason not to hot drop at the moment. Some teams will decide to kind of hang on to those revives, but it doesn't last forever. So a lot of these teams, Execute in particular, you're always going to be seeing a hot drop over here. Interesting from Fate, though, deciding not to go with his teammates. He's over doing kind of like a little bit of a cover area there, just holding some ground. Could be an interesting play from them. Not one that we saw last time in the last squad event, so I'll be interested to see how that goes, but he does have some competition here, and it's not going well at all for him, Ackfire.
Oh, the boys from Real Academy coming in right there and putting him down. But speaking about teams being put down, even Victors are continuing on with their onslaught too as well, as they do turn the sights onto Error. Jonathan trying to see if he can get that revive quite quickly, but the push is coming through. Jesus, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that well and not totally destroying his name, is coming in and trying to see if he can get a knock to come through. Mr. Joker is currently just in that vicinity trying to provide some cover. They still have one player who is down to the ground. Jonathan comes in close to that CQC, and he will be put down to the ground too. He's just trying quite hard, but that DBS will put him to the ground.
dear, oh dear, that DBS, man, that meta's gotta go. It's just too powerful, it's too strong. Royal Academy doing some good stuff, though, defending it, but it's not gonna be happening. Extreme Slayers moving in too quickly. The Execute also having a little bit of a problem. It's just Trick now up, still alive in Science Center as far as I'm aware. Not anymore. That's going to be Execute out and down, but ready to be revived and going elsewhere. They have lost the Science Center hot drop, and I tell you what, I think that's one of the very first times we've actually seen that.
Amazing stuff going down there as we've seen a couple of teams getting lobbied and taken out. My prediction might just come through. The Slayers still holding quite a good position. They've not gotten into the fight yet, and they have a lot of rotation to do to get into that zone. So they got to be doing it right now, depending on how fast it's going to be moving. You know, like I said, I'm not really that great in understanding this map, but man, it's looking quite beautiful, I must say. I think I probably am gonna try this tonight. Hopefully I don't get killed. I can find someone to play with. But yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. It's looking good for now.
Yeah, it's looking very nice. A lot of teams have got some really good work already into the first half of the game. And I will say that's a very interesting new zone coming in here. Normally we see it center, as are codes center on your screen. You will be seeing those codes, and there it goes, washed away. So be very quick with that. Go ahead and redeem it, because it's just one redeem per code. So one of you is going to be going home with some UC this evening. Invictus, though, Ego Invictus might not be going home with much more than a broken ego after this. Paulo going down. Oh, and it's double. It's the DBS double whammy. Error doing some excellent work here for their fifth kill here. Very, very nice work. Ego just gonna have to scrape on by, and for now, Error have this prime time spot up here.
Joker and Samar leading the charge right there as they've gotten 5 eliminations for their team. Aero Esports putting in the work in this lobby so far and continuing on with their onslaught. Now let's see if the rest of the players can step things up, drill through so far, because it's just been an intense battle for a lot of these teams, starting from when they landed. Now, I'll be curious to see if they can continue to make their rotations. You can see them turning their sights onto Extreme Slayers, who haven't really been in on the action so far, Neptune, but now they might be, getting into the line of sights of the boys from the Aero Esports.
Yeah, this is actually really nice from Extreme Slayers. I love the game they're playing here. They're playing the long and slow game. They didn't go for that hot drop. They're still fresh. They're still ready to go. But they've actually gone into zone with a wide rotation coming in from the north this time. So now they're ready for any of these teams coming in from that south who are all bunched together. Yeah, really, really lovely done from Extreme Slayers. You got Robert on that front row. A couple of solos in between them, though, so they're going to have to be careful. They don't want to get backstabbed anytime soon, but with top 7 left alive, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And 7 teams are currently now beginning to find their spots and pick it quite carefully. But speaking of which, we did speak about the boys from Extreme Slayers, and it does look like they're getting pushed in this region, and there might be some third party for them to deal with too as well. So let's see how they can cope not getting to that early action. It does look like Ju Yaya is able to defend his position quite well against the boys from Infinity, as they do drop and get that confirmation to boot, and they've gotten themselves some little bit of eliminations so far.
They have indeed. 412 now looks like they're going out, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see the teams having gone down there. No, 412 still around here at the moment, but not for long. It could depend on where that zone ends up shifting to. But for now, Error and Extreme Slayers, definitely 2 of the bigger teams here. Lots of eliminations, still a full squad, looking good so far. Oh, and Fate going down for Execute. 3 points on the board so far, 4th position. There's the zone, though. There it is. Oh, and actually Execute have a really nice spot in zone. If they can just keep their members up alive, that it's now 2 down for them. That is not the result they wanted at all. But Trick's going to be trying to make sure that 412 has no more sightlines, but I don't know. I think it's all over for Casper.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking about things getting really tough, the circle's currently closing. Teams are about to converge. You can feel the tension building amongst the players, and it's about to get really hot. The boys from Execute are currently just biding their position. They had one of the players who was knocked down, and now he has been sent back to the lobby. Casper as well has also, is also currently bleeding out, and it does look like they're able to get that revive. I know you spoke about them before the game started, about them being one of the favorites, and they did perform really good. But it does look like my caster cause has put a lot of its blessings upon the Extreme Slayers, because somehow you can see that they are managing to stay alive in this one and evading a lot of shots that are coming through.
They are indeed, and it's been a really, really good job from them, actually. I think it's a little bit of out of the way positioning. Robert's definitely getting the brunt of the action over here, but it's such a good spot for survival, and I think a lot of teams are prioritizing that. If they were in week 1 or if they watched week 1, they would have seen that there was a lot of points, a lot of fighting, but not a whole lot of action towards the end of the game, just because there was no one left to compete with. So I think a lot of teams are prioritizing that later game. Robert, though, just over peaking a little bit too much as Infinity go out in 7th place.
All right, things are now beginning to get absolutely amazing. As you can see, bodies dropping left, right, center. The boys on Arrow continuing on with their aggressive gameplay as they try to take on several different teams. Now, Extreme Slayers, who I have put my money on, have one player who's been knocked down, is Remix, but Fradley also will get put down to the ground, leaving Juyaya, the last one up for the team Extreme Slayers, as we are down to 5 teams on the lobby. Nomads as well also gets taken down, and 412 are currently in a lot of trouble. Juyaya gets into that vicinity where the boys from Extreme are correctly situated at, and it begins a skirmish with them. He almost gets taken out, but somehow, so far, is able to evade the shots coming in from Trick.
How did Hayuya ever? He went through Execute, the entire team of Execute, and managed to stay alive somehow. In fact, speaking of Execute, Casper is up. Yes, he does. But Casper did get back up, so they are a trio right now. Excellent nade going in there, just tickling Ray enough to get rid of him completely. And 412 up to 4 eliminations. Yuya, though, he's got a lot of work to be doing as the trio move up against him. Oh, but he gets a free shot on there and still goes out. Casper clutching it up. Extreme Slayer. Unfortunately for you, Actfire, not going to be making it to the top position for this game, but a decent result nonetheless. 7 points going to them.
Yeah, absolutely. They did start off quite slowly, getting into the action, and eventually they got taken out by several different teams who were playing it a bit more aggressive. Speaking of aggressive, we can now see Yusuf, the last one off for his team. He's battling the blue zone too as well. The boys from Execute, as you spoke about them earlier on, looking like they might be taking this game through. Tricks getting that confirmation onto one of those players from 412, and it looks like things might just be ending with the boys from X winning this one. As Trick goes down, maybe, just maybe, Yusuf can do a 1v2 right here, but those shots coming through, Casper will have none of it as he sends them back into the lobby, and it is the boys from Execute with the first winner chicken dinner.
Oh my goodness. Execute. You know what? I should have seen this coming, and I just didn't. From the beginning, they didn't look like they were playing the same as they did when they dominated so heavily. They were playing something different. They were trying out new things, and they still ended up winning. So big GG's going over to Execute, the winners of the first game here for this evening. Just really, really good stuff. I mean, even losing Fate there in the blue zone, Casper going down, and it looked real hectic for them for a little bit there, but they managed to hold on to those compounds. Very, very well done indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I did think that Slayers were going to put up a fight, but somehow they were getting into those rotations quite late. But speaking about things coming into, let's look at the screen right here. Check down there, get those codes quite quickly, and make sure you're typing it. You can pause your screen. Don't pause for too long. Just play it, and don't miss any of the stats that we're going to be showing you.
Yeah, absolutely. The stats will be coming up fairly shortly. Like MVP, we got MVP moving in here very quickly. It will be here in a moment. There it is. Here we go. Who's our MVP? Of course, it is going to be Casper. 4 eliminations, 556. Yeah, that's a word. 556 damage and 1 assist. So very nice work coming in there for Casper, for his team. Execute very, very nicely done indeed. And of course, yeah, I mean, I think we kind of saw that coming, didn't we, at Fire? I mean, they won, they got the MVP, so most valued team is going to be Execute here. But a nice range of contribution here from the team. I mean, Fate didn't do a whole lot, but he went out fairly early. Trick pulling his weight in damage and knocks, but it is going to be Casper grabbing those kills instead. What do you think of this, Fire?
I mean, it just goes to show that Trick was actually, you know, making a lot of push. He got a lot of knocks. You can see that damage coming through. He got about 853, so there's a lot more to that story. Yes, probably a lot of his kills were getting stolen. But head to head, you can see that the boys from Extreme Slayers. Now, when I say the boys, guys, I generally mean, you know what I mean. Anyways, Extreme Slayers getting themselves 7 eliminations, going up against the 4-1-2 Nomads. I mean, I think their performance was quite great. I just feel like they waited too long to get into a good spot.
Yep, I totally agree on both sides, actually. But yeah, definitely with Extreme Slayers, because they had a really good spot. And then they just waited a little bit too long after that zone shift. They waited way too late. They moved with the blue, and at that point, teams already knew where they were, what they had to be doing, and they took advantage of that pressure, which is a bit of a shame. But you'll be seeing a more clear picture when it comes to the statistics of this game, with kills and Execute coming in here with 10 eliminations. Oh my goodness me. Extreme Slayers with 7, Error with 7 as well. Error making very good use of that prime time position they had up there on that hill. Yeah, it was really nicely done from Error as well. I think Error really put the kibosh on Extreme Slayers' win there. So very nicely done. Helped Execute, got more points on their own. Looking very good for all these teams. A decent amount of damage across the board as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm quite surprised with the way it turned out eventually for Execute. As at the beginning of the game, it looked like they had moments where they were going to get taken out, but over and over again they fought tooth and nail, and they managed to get themselves into that good spot, and it worked out for them, and they found themselves in that top 2 position. So at the end of the day, you can see that that leaderboard obviously reflects the performance that they had, coming out with 10 kill points, as well as the winner chicken dinner, which obviously does grant them those 10 points, and they are currently leading the charge by 9 points. In that second place, we saw great, shots coming through from Aero Esports. They basically started out like they were going to win the game. You could see that those 7 eliminations obviously counts for them, but that doesn't tell the whole story, because I feel like these guys were the disruptors in today's game.
Yes. Yeah, they absolutely were. Error doing a whole lot of work, not necessarily to get themselves the win, but to stop a lot of other teams from doing it. So they did a really good kind of gatekeeping, I guess, gatekeeping the overall rankings a little bit, gatekeeping that second place. They did a good job. 412, though, right up there with them, just not quite enough to get over to that second place. So yeah, very nicely done here. I'm excited for game 2, because of course that was just a warm-up for a lot of them. We will be seeing how they come into that second game really quickly here. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how that goes, but I think we will will be going into a little bit of break. Production, can you just tell me that? A little bit of a break, I think, as we move into game 2. But just before that, yes, I do have confirmation. We'll be going into a little bit of a break, celebrate or not, commiserate, as we get ready for the next game. See you in a bit. We're gonna be going, here we are, we're gonna be talking some more. I was wrong, I love that for me. Yeah, it's gonna be a really good game, I think. I think it's interesting. I'm really curious to see how Execute now move forward, right? Because we saw, so we were going into break. We'll continue this after the break, Act 5. For now, we'll catch you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Our break is over. Fire. We've had a little bit of a chance to have a little bit of a think about what that game actually was and how that's going to be moving into game number 2. It's looking very, what, mics? Huh? Okay. It's looking very interesting, particularly with, he's gone. Particularly with Execute. I think Execute have had a very interesting playstyle coming into this evening. As I was saying before break, you saw them go very gung-ho, very in everybody's faces, very aggressive, and then just kind of cleaning up the rest of the lobby. But as we see the lobby start to move into more of a long-term, long game, long haul based strategy, I think Execute have really had to kind of adapt to that and end up using some interesting strategies of their own. They're really starting to play around a little bit with the timing, play around with some splits, some rotations that we haven't seen before. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to be working out for them in the next game, because certainly it's been working for them so far. But we will be going into new stuff very, very shortly. I can promise you that. I think we're going into it as we speak. So I'm very excited for this. I hope you all are at home as well. I hope that first game got you all pumped up, ready to go, very excited, because we'll be heading in to number 2 very shortly. Right, so we're going to be moving into the game. Here we go. Is everybody going to be going to Science Center? I think so. We certainly see this player with that little dog going to Science Center. Yep, most of them are indeed. And we do see Extreme Slayers doing the same thing, but much bigger spread. Fate as well doing the same thing as the first game. So they are going for round 2. They will be retrying this strategy, and I'm here all for it. I don't know about you guys at home, but I certainly am. Error, on the other hand, 2 down immediately right off the bat upon landing. Execute not having a good time either. Row, though, doing nicely. Infinity having a horrible time, down to 1 already, but luckily they will be having that revive very, very shortly here. So, not bad at all. Not a bad start for some of these teams, and a terrible start for many. Certainly more than we've been seeing in that first game, so it looks like these teams are all ready to go. Rip and roaring. 412 having a little bit of a hard time here. Row gonna be trying to get this reset going, as already Science Center is done. There's only 2, maybe 3 teams here, so that was a very, very quick, I mean, less than 30 seconds as Tixie Bay does go down. That was a beautiful nade. Who was that from? Had to be Infinity. Infinity Flux coming in here. Very, very nicely done from them. That was a beautiful nade. Very nicely done. And now Science Center is 1 step closer to being Lux's entire possession. Just gotta be round through the door. Oh no, he ran out of bullets. The AK runs out and the Uzi picks up where the AK left off. That is such a shame after that nice nade, but Lux will go down and Row end up having it. But who is this? Ego Invictus now coming on here to make a scene, and it looks like a lot of these teams have now decided to relocate after that revive. Going over to the eastern side, I would have thought going after the zone here. Error not having the game that they did last time. A little bit more. Yeah, are we back? Okay. Excellent. Yeah, okay. We're back. Yeah, screen. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Sorry about that. We had a few technical difficulties, but I am back now. Infinity, we are watching Lucky. Oh, that was a very nice one. Just wondering who actually threw that stun because no one really took advantage of it. No, what is happening? 412. 412, what are you doing? Yusuf going down there, Lucky going in, and that is going to be the end of Infinity. So 412 pick up where their teammate left off, but that was unfortunate that they let that kill go over to their enemy there, but no matter, it is just 1 point, and 412 have 5-6 more to go off of, so very nicely done from them. Error now picking on 412, so it's a big battle over here in this Bay Area. Execute moving in now. We just see 3 eliminations, and Fate does go down there. So Execute so far, again, very similar to the first game. We're not seeing a whole lot of action going their way, but if they can make it to that top 3 again, we may see them come out on top as we saw in the last game. So we'll have to see how that goes, but Error for the moment is going to try and put a stop to it. Very nicely done. Alrighty. We are going to be seeing we're having a few technical difficulties. Do stand by as we watch Error, Jonathan, and Execute go through and try and just do a little bit of a Mexican standoff over here. You back?
Yeah, it is. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes you do have those difficulties, and unfortunately I have missed some action going down so far, but it does look like the boys from Execute are still doing their thing as they're coming toe-to-toe against the boys from Error. We do see Jonathan just holding his position so far here. My money's on the boys from Error in this particular one, because they're going absolutely crazy, and now they do face the guys who got that wait, what?
Oh, his teammate.
Okay. I was about to be like, there was some voodoo going down there, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. It wasn't voodoo. We didn't see things. It was Daku who came in with the clutch there.
Yeah, that was beautifully done. Just like this code is beautiful here. Look, yep, the chicken is pointing the surfboard right at that code, so you can't miss it. And there he goes, washed away. That's a big shame, but hopefully you caught that code before it left our presence, and hopefully you're going to be going home with some UC this evening. The zone looking very nice. I will tell you, Act Fire, last squad event that we had, the zone centered up pretty much every time, so it's really nice to see these kinds of these zones moving up a little bit more, so we get a little bit more of an experience. I do like this Bay Area. It's a very interesting area to play, so I do like seeing it come into action here. I will say Ego on that eastern side looking like they might have a chance here.
Absolutely. They look like they want to take this one. But speaking about teams taking things, the boys from 412 are also find themselves within that vicinity. But while we're taking a look at the teams, do remember to check out those codes right there and redeem as quickly as you can before your next man does. It may just be your friend sitting down there to get that one. So quickly redeem those codes. All right, so getting back into the game, we Esports, Jonathan, also, who has gotten himself 2 eliminations, just watching onto several different teams. But I do feel like there's a Trojan horse in their midst. You have the boys from 412, well, the players from 412 within this vicinity, and they may cause them some trouble while they do try to rotate into that zone. Nomad is taking a look at Errors. He has some line aside onto Joker, and it may just be trouble for Error while they do try to make the rotations into that center spot. But we'll see how it goes, as Ego is also in the mix of things.
They are indeed. I'm also seeing a few people over in chat shouting out Row as well. Row Academy over there, just on your screens on that other side of the hillside there. And they are looking good as well, looking very, very quiet at the moment, as they really should be for this zone shift, just to see where things go, not be too aggressive, although maybe a little bit too passive as Tixie Bay going down to that zone. I'm not sure what happened there, Act 5. That is a real shame, though. Hopefully they can get him back done and dusted, and they'll be able to be back into the fray. As the zone shifts away from that eastern side, we are going more and more towards the sea, and now Ego have a rotation ahead of them.
Yeah, Ego hasn't gotten himself into a lot of fights so far. Things have been quite calm for them. We saw that with the boys from Excess in the previous game, but now here comes the Extreme Slayers, who are going toe-to-toe with the boys from Ego. It's a 3v4 situation, as Paolo and the rest of the players from Ego are looking to push onto this region. Aero Esports is also feeling the hurt, as they do take down one of the players from Row. Darko had previously gotten knocked down, but we did speak about Nomad and his teammates also coming in from the side. They're trying as much as possible to smoke that region. They've got to get into that zone. They know that quite well right now, but Ego is putting in a lot of work onto Extreme Slayers, and they might just send them out of the game.
They might indeed. I mean, honestly, it's about time Error started getting some points. They only have 2 eliminations on the board right now, but that's not who I meant. I meant the other one, Ego. Yeah, 2 eliminations, because Error have 10. So definitely not who I was meaning there. Error doing some excellent, excellent work coming in here. Ego, only 2 eliminations. They do have a rotation to make. They are making it right now. Looks like a good angle for them, but Extreme Slayers look to be pretty much right in front of them. So Ego definitely have some work to be doing here. But I will say this is a pretty good top 3. Error Esports, Extreme Slayers, and Ego Invictus. 3 teams not to be sniffed at, I will tell you that. So I'm very excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys from Ego have a lot of numbers to work with, as the players from Ego Invictus are looking to see if they can turn the sights onto Arrow. Arrow has currently only 3 players who are currently up. They have those eliminations. They've been in on the action, and now they've reduced the numbers of Ego. Now they've evened things out with Arrow Esports as they've dropped their numbers. And you can now see that Jonathan is looking to capitalize on that and get himself into a good position to get another knock to come through. But regardless of the fight going down between these 2 teams, the zone is pulling up, Neptune, and it might just prove to be the thing that sends Aero Esports out of the game.
Yeah, this could be really tricky for them, because they've had to rotate across the zone into the middle, in between Ego and Extreme Slayers. This could be really, really fatal for them. But it looks like Extreme Slayers and actually Ego are going head to head and leaving Error out of it. I'm not sure that's the play here for either one of them. They need to be doing some self-preservation tactics. But no, we're just going to be going all for it. And Ego down to 1, down to none. Robert Frady getting the job done and dusted in the bag, as we see who is going down. Error putting up a fight for the ages here. Who's going to win this one? Oh, and it is Error taking the win by storm. 12 eliminations going their way. What a...
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I did not see that one coming. And this is the second time we're seeing this in the lobby. When it looked like they were going to get taken out, they somehow found a way to battle things out. And you can see them getting that chicken dinner one in the second game. I mean, the first game it was Execute who won it against the odds, and now it is Aero Esports.
It is indeed, and power to them, man. I mean, they really earned that win, didn't they? They just went fight after kill after kill, and they just got it done. And it's one of those wins where it's not winning the game, it's winning by being the last person standing, right? Because it's in that massive fight, massive chaos, and then just coming out on top because they really earned it. So big respect going over to Error Esports for that win. That's going to put them very high up on that leaderboard, if not pole position, ahead of Execute. And man, Ekfire, I don't know how Execute are going to be feeling about this one.
Yeah, they did the job that was meant to be done early on by taking out Execute and going on to win the game. So they obviously had felt like they had taken out the major team early on, so they were feeling really confident. But now we'll be looking at our MVP of that particular game. I'm curious to see who is on top of that chart right there, and it will go to Sama. Obviously 5 kills doesn't tell the whole story. As you can see, him getting 887 damage, and so I mean he was just absolutely outstanding alongside, you know, the rest of his teammates.
He was indeed, and what's really interesting there is 0 assists, so he's getting those kills all on his own, or he is actually third partying, both of which are very commendable for an MVP. We love to see it. Not quite getting to that 1k damage, but you know what? It's darn close. We'll give it to him. Sama Arn doing some great work there for his team. Now, will that team be the most valuable team for this game? I think they are going to be, aren't they? Yes, they are. I mean, with 12 eliminations, far and above the rest of the lobby, I think they're just gonna have to be. And you do see Error there, 5 eliminations, 4 knocks, 887 damage. He's definitely the MVP by quite a fair bit here from the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the one leading the charge. You could even see in the beginning when he was going toe-to-toe against, you know, the teams early on, Execute. He was the one who was trying as much as possible to, you know, get those knocks to come through. But also, there's another team that we cannot put aside. They came second in this game. Definitely a better performance than their first one. It is Extreme Slayers, and I do think that they are another team that has been continuously just putting up points on the lobby. They keep being in the conversation over and over again. They got themselves 7 eliminations this time around. You can see that damage obviously says they could have probably gotten more kills, and I think there was a lot of probably stealing and third parties going on. So we'll see how the next game goes. Maybe they might finally get their winning chicken.
Yes, indeed. But if I'm not mistaken, honestly, I think Extreme Slayers actually got less damage than they did in the first game, which is interesting, seeing as Extreme Slayers were definitely more in the thick of things this game than they were in the last. But of course, that could be just because they came second and squad wiped, who was it? Ego. So yeah, it's looking very good for them, but Error really taking that cake there. 2k damage, much like Execute in the last game. Infinity making an appearance here, as well as Row Academy with some very decent stats coming in here for 12 as well. So everybody's pretty much on the same wavelength, of course, except for Error Esports. So a very nice even lobby, and I'm super excited to see what that's done to the overalls. How close is it really? Because remember, we ended game 1 on a tie between second and third.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be going into our overall right now to take a look at what the... Ooh, man, just look at that. Aero Esports coming in guns blazing and taking over Execute all the way in that top spot. Definitely cool, as they did push for that #1 spot. They went in for the boys from Execute, but it's not over yet. We still got one more game to go. Extreme Slayers are also in the conversation, and I think that they may just be the team to come from behind. They're just 10 points away from Aero Esports, and if they do get a winner chicken dinner, they might just find themselves taking over that #1 spot. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we absolutely will, but honestly, I'm seeing pretty much the top 4. The top 4 can definitely still take #1 with a single game. That's how close it is. I mean, only 1 point between third and fourth coming in there. So definitely a lot to play for still as we head into our third game and final game of the evening. But before we do that, we will be going into a very small, quick little break. So stay tuned and we'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the third and final game already. It has been less than an hour, and we are going into the third game of the evening. That is insane. I mean, I know everybody in the esports world is used to, 3, 4, 5, 6 games of much larger maps. So this is a very quick event here this evening. But of course, we only have half of those teams that we usually have. 8 teams are joining our lineup here this evening for this final game. Now, we have seen the last 2 games be very, very interesting. Agfire, how you been finding the competition tonight?
And fast. I think the first thing is fast. It's probably the fastest casting I've ever had.
Yeah, same.
Very, very wild. Like I predicted from the start, the teams are very aggressive. I think the only team that I see in the lobby that's been a bit cautious is Extreme Slayers. I think they are taking things easy, making those motions, being a bit tactical in the way they take on their fights. Error is just wild. They're going guns blazing right next to Execute. Other teams too as well. But obviously I can see why we have Error on top, Execute second, and Extreme Slayers in third place. We're curious to see if Extreme Slayers light things up in this third game, and come out on top. Well, let's see how.
Yeah, I would really like to see Extreme Slayers really go all out and become Extreme and Slayers for this final map. I think they could do that. I like the way they've been playing, but honestly, that kind of strategy, it really takes several days of competition for that to work. That's where really consistency really comes into play. When you only have three games, when you only have 3 of these to go, you're really needing to make as many points per match as possible. And while consistency overall will do that, it's not going to be as amazing, as massive as some of these other teams who are just like, we can have 1 bad game, maybe even 2 bad games, as long as we get a 1 massive game in there and we still have a chance. So I think that's the difference between the 2, and we are seeing all 8 teams coming on here for the third game, and they're all going to that south side. Very interesting. Not one in the north half.
Man, they are starting the game as they finish the previous one. You can see the shots being let loose, but Eagle feeling the hurt right there, and I do believe that they might just be the ones who will get sent out quite early here, as the shots are being let loose at every single corner. But Aero Esports as well now beginning to feel the hurt too as well. They might get sent out quite early on here in Neptune. We might be seeing a rise of a new team to get that chicken dinner.
We might indeed. Rowe doing some good work here. Only lost 1 so far for the eliminations. Oh, and we got somebody using a machete, I think, in there, getting a little bit of that extra goodness in there. But 412 doing the business. 6 eliminations already. 412 doing a really, really good job here. But it is going to be Ego versus Extreme Slayers. This is the team we were just talking about. And so far, it looks like they're just not stepping up to the plate as much as we'd like them to. In fact, Ego Invictus going to be able to take that player out for good.
Man, a massive brawl breaking out right here. Bullets flying from every single corner. We do see Aim and his teammate coming through in this corner right next to the boys from Royal Academy. And you can see Echo looking to push with that name. There's a team called Royal Academy. That's why it's stuck in my head. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, nades? I love nades so much. Throwables. Oh, that was beautiful. Does it in the end, though. Very, very nicely done from Row Academy. Eco, I just love a good old drop and spray there. Very nicely done on both sides, but unfortunately 412 going to be getting the best of him on that one. Eco done a lot of work, but not enough. The rest of the team now has to take it on because they can't afford to lose this one. Row Academy on such a good streak right now. They need to take this player out. They need to be the Masters of Science Center. does get the revive, and down he goes. Beautiful prone shot coming in from Jin there, taking him out. That's going to be Vic out and done and dusted, and it is going to be a full squad of Row Academy to steal Science Center away from everyone else.
Man, Row Academy gets in 7 eliminations in this position, but that does not tell the full story. I'm not sure if they had a split with the rest of the players, and maybe that was the plan, because it was just Echo and Jin within this position getting a whole bunch of those eliminations to come through, and they somehow managed to survive, while there were teams like Arrow. There were so many different teams within that vicinity. But speaking about the boys from Arrow, they did manage to get away from that position and find themselves in another spot. But they're right next to the boys from Eagle, and they're continuing on with their onslaught right here. As you can see this time around, an exchange of knocks coming through as Eagle drops one of the players from Arrow. It is Joker who is down, but the return fire coming through from Jonathan puts 2 of them down to the ground, and you can see that the shots are now beginning to fly, but Arrow is in some trouble. The Silver players are currently down. The Eagle is getting that revive, and they do have some cover from their teammates.
They do indeed. Well fought there. Looks like on both sides, but unfortunately Era just getting taken out there. Yeah, it's just one left alive. That is gotta be very, very nerve-wracking for them. They need this to go well. They had a massive game, but it just isn't enough to make enough of a difference there. That nade just a little bit too short, and good thing too for Error. They needed that to not hit correctly. Now they have this revive, but the DBS is out for Yeesus, so it really could go either way here, and I think Error know that. Looks like one's going to be trying to make that play. Yes, they are. So this one might go down. It may, but he may not. Down he goes instead. Ego losing one to a knock here. Samir goes on a little while longer.
And then just like that, the person Eagle are currently making that push onto Arrow. And they do continue to drop down the bodies. Daku, the last one for his team. After they got that winner chicken dinner, things are not just in their favor, and they will be sent back into the lobby in 8th place right here. The players from Aero Esports are obviously going to be feeling that burn, as they might have just lost the opportunity to hang on to that #1 spot, as Ego does pull them out of the game. But things are still looking quite interesting in the lobby. We're curious to see how things go down.
Yes, indeed, as we do see codes coming in here as they get washed away. So go ahead, pause, go back, do whatever you need to do to get those digits into the redeem page on PUBG Mobile, and you will get there very nicely. Get some codes, get some use for yourself. That's a big shame for Error, though. They had 0 eliminations, so this is pretty much a 0-point game or something to that effect. It's enough to make them very, very nervous as to what their position is going to be after this game, because the teams that are right behind them, Extreme Slayers and Execute, they're still here, they're still thriving, so going to be a difficult one for sure coming into this.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been some great stuff that we've seen so far. So much talent on the lobby, as we've been seeing shots, connecting from distances. We've been seeing aggressive gameplays. We've been seeing really smart pushes coming through, and it's anybody's game right now, as you can see. All of them trying as much as possible to make their way into that good spot. We still got a couple of teams who are still looking quite strong, and this time around have gotten a lot of eliminations to their name. Raw Academy and Ego Invictus are currently sitting down with 7 and 5 eliminations respectively, and you'll be curious to see how they perform moving in. Execute, who is sitting down in that 2nd place, has just 2 players left. So currently, as it stands, they have not taken over that #1 spot from Aero. On the other hand, you do have the Extreme Slayers. They've got themselves 4 eliminations, but regardless, we could see them not really getting a lot of kills in this one. So they've got to step things up. But my goodness, would you look at that coming through from Row?
I love this from Row Academy. They were towards the bottom here so far, and they've just been doing a really, really good job. Of course, as soon as we start talking about them, two go out very quickly there. But 412 do get eliminated, so that is one more team that was above them off of the board. That's going to allow them to move on up. They've got 7 eliminations, so even though they are a duo, they're in the top 5, I think they can call this a very, very good game. They're still in it. They still definitely could win it, and we'll just have to see how they get on from here.
I think the team definitely to watch out for will be Ego Invictus, because they have got the numbers to control and seal this game through. But it all stands to Extreme Slayers right now. They've got 3 players within their team, and they might just be able to take this game away from the other teams. But Ego is in quite an interesting position too as well. If they do get themselves a good amount of kills as well as the chicken dinner, they might just see themselves moving all the way into that top spot. But here is the opportunity for Execute to take on this game right now. Aero Esports has been sent back into the lobby. This is their moment. They're just a duo, but they've got to fight for those points.
They really do, as you in chat may have to fight for these codes, because remember, only one person can grab them, so they are one-time use only. So go ahead, start using your elbows and push everyone out the way to get that code for yourself and get some UC. Become a winner of this event, even if you're not playing. Execute, though, still in the zone, still in the game, still as a duo with 3 eliminations. Not, as you said, enough to actually move past Error right now, but they're definitely going to be trying their very bestest right now. They got a good spot. They've got great sightlines on Extreme Slayers, who this is the team that they really need to get rid of if they want to secure their 2nd place at least. So could be a very nice spot for them. They do have Row Academy, 1 still left. Eco still here, still ready to go, and a beautiful nade from Infinitio wiping out the rest of Eco, it looks like. Oh, this could be bad.
Oh, hold on to your seats, folks. The circle is closing. The battle is about to erupt right here. As you can see, Eco trying as much as possible to see if he can get into that zone, but the blue zone will have him stuck in that position. You can now see that Execute is making that rotation. They found themselves into a spot. But, would you look at that? They will get blown up and sent back into the lobby. This is exactly what the boys from Slayers need. If they're going to come out in that number 1 spot, they need to be taken out, Execute, and they've done just that. We spoke about them coming all the way from that 3rd position and taking that number 1 spot. It's just a game where they finally get their chicken dinner. They currently sit down with 10 eliminations. They might be getting more right here, but would you look at that coming from behind?
Yeah, very nicely done there. Great cover on both sides there. Row Academy doing some good work to actually help Extreme Slayers here, but Ego, man, they've got some good points on the board. I don't know if it's going to be kind of enough in some ways. I think Extreme Slayers have fended them off from that 3rd position, but it's just a matter of time who is going to come out on top here. It is going to be Ego. It was a 1v1, but Ego clutch it out in the end. Have they done enough to make that top 3?
I'm not really sure if they were able to, because probably they've been able to get into that top 3, because they have gotten the chicken dinner and had a couple of eliminations to themselves. But the question is, were they able to get into that number 1 or number 2 spot? We'll see at the end of the game. But I do believe that the boys, the players from Extreme Slayers have been able to get into that number 1 spot. They were 10 points just behind the leaders before this game started, leaders who were Aero Esports, and we saw them going out quite early on. And we also did see them take out Execute. So with the amount of eliminations they had, as well as those placement points, they may just have sealed the deal.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely going to be a close one, and I think you're probably right when it comes to the kind of that points, that point system coming in here. But we also have some codes. Speaking of numbers and letters, yep, there it is. Just do all that. There it is right there, so you can post that into the PUBG Mobile website redeem page and go grab some UC for yourself as we head on over into our MVP of this game. We're going to be looking at who our most valued player is in 3, 2, 1, and it is going to be a remix from Mazexis, who aren't playing, so he's playing for another team. I don't remember who he played for. Oh no, that's a different tag. But anyway, he has 5 eliminations, 828 damage, and 0 assists. Big GGs.
Yeah, amazing stuff coming through from Remix right there, as he does get himself those maximum eliminations. And I do believe that doesn't tell the entire story. I'm not sure what team he was playing for as well, but man, it was fire from the beginning till the end.
Absolutely was. I'm excited to see who the MVP is as we come over here. And it is going to be, oh, he's playing for Extreme Slayers. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, Extreme Slayers did a lot of good work there. Very, very nicely done. And we're seeing a little bit more of an even contribution from all 4 players here. But yeah, definitely Remix pulling in front there.
All right, so going head-to-head, sorry about that. Going head-to-head, it is Extreme Slayers getting 12 eliminations this time around.
Wow.
Now, I'm curious to see what that does mean in the overall leaderboard, as I do believe if my math is correct, because custom math is not always the best sometimes. I do believe that's 8 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, that may have taken them all the way to the top, but they are coming toe-to-toe right next to 412 Nomads, and look at that damage. It's like the same amount of damage, exact amount of damage. Like, how many times do you see that?
Yeah, I know, that's insane. Yeah, that's so cool. But Extreme Slayers do make more conversions out of that damage, though. Nomads taking out 9 players and Extreme Slayers taking out 12. Ego Invictus, they did win the game, let's remember that, and with 11 eliminations. So a very, very good game from them as well. I was pleasantly surprised by Row Academy. They really came in strong for this final game, really made a good show. Unfortunately, I think Zone just kind of got them in the end. They weren't able to grab a good position. Certainly did try, but it just wasn't in the cards for them this evening. But still a very, very good game from them. I will also say just quickly though, Infinity, we haven't spoken about them hardly at all, but they've been in this top 5 pretty much every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been put in that consistent dominant spot. They find themselves in that 7th spot. And now, at the end of the day, a team who wasn't able to get the winner chicken dinner, but kept on putting in those eliminations, finally gets the number 1 spot. And it is the players from Extreme Slayers who, I did speak about my money being on, with the prediction. Okay, so yeah, Extreme Slayers coming out on top at the end of the day. It's not all about the chicken dinner. Sometimes all you need to do is keep on getting those points, and you can see it paid off for them at the end of the day.
It paid off very, very well for them. Big congrats going over to Extreme Slayers. That was beautifully played tonight. Very nicely done indeed. 2 second places come in there. I tell you what though, I am super surprised by Execute's performance. They just weren't able to have the same sort of success that they did in the first game. I did expect them to be in 5th place, but 412, a very, very consistent, very aggressive team, and they were able to actually sneak past and put Execute in 6th place. So definitely not the result that Execute was really wanting. Definitely not the one that they were looking for with that first game considered. But, that is how it do be. And Extreme Slayers definitely deserved that win.
Great stuff coming through from all of these teams. At the end of the day, I did think that Aero Esports was going to come out on top, but
yeah, same.
somehow that 3rd game just slipped away from them. The first and the 2nd game, they were both aggressive gameplays coming in from Aero Esports. I think they probably got a little bit complacent in that 3rd game, thinking that they had it in the bag just a few points, and they might have sealed it. If they got 10 points out of that game, got into the top 5, got themselves maybe 5 eliminations, then definitely they might have found themselves in that number 1 spot. But that will be the end of things for them, I guess. It was just to be that the boys from Extreme Slayers would seal that one and get that number 1 spot.
It was indeed. Well, Akbar, that has been 3 games, 3 Noosa games, 8 squads all competing, and we have our winner, Extreme Slayer GG's, coming through in here, and you too can be winners. The last winner of a code for the last code of the evening, there it is on the bottom of your screen, right in the middle. Go grab it while you still can, because there's 908 people watching and only 1 code to go around, so go grab it while you still can. But that has been the PUBG Mobile Summer Brawl North America in its entirety. Thank you so much for watching this evening. Thank you so much for watching all 4 events if you've been here every week. Congrats to you, GG's. Thank you to everybody who has been watching, supporting the teams, us, and the production of this event. It's been a blast. Thank you, Akfire, for joining me here this evening. Been great to have you. I have been Niptera, this has been Actfire, and we will see you in the next event. For now, have a great night.